but they started something, but they didn't see how it will come back here in the United States. They did not see that. But when it comes to the national security, things are happening here against this country that I watch over as was commanded to. There will always be an intervention, a divine intervention. That's what they missed. They have forgotten that the enemies they were, and that when they get to the place and there was a resistance, that there will be some confusions among them, and they will have other enemies around where they can go to seek for some exploit. When you have some of the groups pointing and going towards the Arabian Peninsula into Saudi Arabia, and another into Qatar, and another into Turkey, and another into the UAE, Brunei, and all the nations in the Middle East, even India. And then you see the overwhelming war in Ukraine expanding into Europe. Because then the Trump will be distracted. That's their plan originally, that they will be engaged in Syria so that it will distract President Trump from the issues locally. They don't see the war spreading in such a manner that they have no money to be able to pay the social security, no money to be able to support the food stamps and the safety nets and sickness that is happening, and everybody is fighting to manage, and they say they can manage. You have not been able to manage anything in your life. You want to create a chaos so that you can come in as a peacemaker, and then Trump will be stuck shuttling from one country to another and one meeting to another. Tell me, how will President Trump be able to carry out the mandate he received? They had no plan because they didn't think that far. They only stopped at their nose. That's all they could see. They couldn't see their back, neither could they see their front, the side, left, east, west, north, and south. They didn't see the escalations and the complexities of the crisis. They want to live. I hope that they find those that made that particular move, if they call it a war game and a chess game, and charge them for treason. They waged the war against the United States and the people of this land because they did not like the choice of the people, and they call it democracy. Wicked and evil people. They can only think one way about their positions and their power. If you don't hold them accountable, the Lord will hold you accountable and decide it for you, because he just saved you again from a very big disaster. If they did not run through and scare the others to run away, and they had engaged in that war, imagine how many blood that will be spilled, and even including the blood of the American people. This particular wickedness and evil against the people of this land and against their own children. They have their own children. Which nation on the earth will they run to? Where are they going to go and take citizenship if they bring the war down inside of here? There is already here. I said the prophecy then. They're already in here. Then the Lord sent me to intervene twice. And they're still finding another way. Come up with idea on how the policies you are going to make that is going to draw people closer to you to be able to consider you again. If you did not stop this and another thing happens before January the 28th, if President Trump did not only intervene to deal with that particular issue, and this is also a test for you that like to test God to see what God will do, you will not smell power of the presidency for 10 to 25 years. And I see something else brewing on the other side, that President Trump and the Republican Party must be very careful. You have an opportunity to be able to reconcile this land, and you are abandoning it already. You have the opportunity to bring people together, and bringing people together is not you bringing all the tech companies to come and pay you homage like a king, like you did in 2018, and yet they end up punishing and suffering you. Yes, we will reconcile and come together. Nothing takes away the accountability in this season like you did that you had done in the past. Things that are destroying the country in a way that it will also impact the rest of the nations of the earth. The Lord had forbidden it. So he's watching, and we are watching what you are doing. And that is what will determine what future we entail. Don't forget that we had 10 years to get it together, and half of that is already gone. So those of you in power and seeking power that like to dismiss whatever you hear when the Lord speaks, and you want to replace it with your own wisdom, your intelligence, and the people should calculate what would have happened if, for example, the Lord did not open the door by driving the people, the government of Syria out, and punishing him for the sins of his father and the sins that he had continued. And the rebels were also warned about touching and persecuting the Christians and religious people and the ordinary people, indigenous people, and the minorities in Syria. And both sides have a choice. You can put it to test and see. And then see the punishment that will come. For the Lord God have just told you, those that change their ways, they shall live. Those that turn around from their unrighteousness and sinful nature and wickedness and evil, persecuting the poor and all these other things that you heard in the book of Ezekiel chapter 18. In case you did not understand my accent, you can go and read it on your own. And may the Lord help you to understand what he said, so that you know. Those in power, because we know it wasn't President Biden, those that are looking for a way to undermine and sabotage the government,